All right, it is Sunday, the 21st of January 2018. Today we're going to be salvaging some of your stuff, and the theme for today is actually fairly straightforward, and that is the concept of losing. Now, losing by itself is actually a very strong learning experience. By losing, and in this particular case, in the Empire we're about to show you, it has lost pretty badly, but it does not mean it is the end. And we're going to go and take a look at this little empire called the Dynasty of Alar to learn what went wrong and how to fix any problems. Now, first of all, I would like to point out that whoever sent me this particular save game, you are an absolute masochist because, well, actually, I think more sadism would be more applicable. We are a vassal under this empire. It looks like we have just lost all of our fleets as well as a good chunk of our planets. We're down to 4 worlds. We're currently also in a war with a fallen empire that is all the way up here in a alliance with these particular states. They can't really reach us because of the border blockage over here, so that's not really a problem. However, there's a bunch of things that we need to watch out for. First of all, our expansion model. We can't really expand all that much. We don't have a lot of territory. There's a bunch of systems that for some bizarre reasons have never been surveyed. We can't really get close to these guys because they will instantly jump on us because they are, in fact, and I will quickly zoom in, militant isolationists. It means we cannot build systems too close to them. In addition, we have serious problems with our influence, which basically means that we are not able to do all that much. We need to cancel this one. You, on the other hand, can build over there, which is fine. And it looks like we're just missing a bunch of survey stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to go out and survey as much stuff as we can in the nearby area. And I know that there is a Spectre listed here, but it's probably no longer here. So that is probably something that we want to keep in the back of our head. And there's a bunch of other systems in here that have not been surveyed yet. We're going to go and take a look at that as soon as we can. There's a Tundra world in here, which is potentially interesting, so we'll take a look at that as well. So let's take a look at our planets and see what we have. So, surface. Overall, considering the year 2291, it seems to be lacking quite significantly. It's all tier 2. It almost feels like whoever built this basically lost their capital and then moved the hell on to somewhere else. Or at least lost their capital and only has a bunch of fringe worlds remaining. Just having the Akaton monument at this point is incredibly underwhelming. It appears to be just all tier 1 stuff. First of all, we're going to get rid of this gene clinic. We no longer need it. It's not as useful as it is. It also costs 1 maintenance, and we can use that to generate society research, something that we are horribly lacking right now. My god, this game is lacking behind as of right now. So let's go and refurbish this. We could upgrade this to a planetary capital, get a couple of additional bonuses here, but I'm not particularly keen on this. What we're going to be doing as well is we're going to be replacing the hydroponics farms in these locations because they are just not worthwhile to put on a adjacency tile here. You can also notice that we are very lacking minerals, but we have a lot of energy, which we can do in this particular case is considering the person who played this was so nice to play it with Leviathans, which means that I have access to the Merchant Guild, so at least I can get minerals quite easily by trading. Let's take a look at this world. Almost no development. Very unhappy population. Why are these guys so unhappy? Synth envy. Okay, so we don't have any robots, so we need to build those. So we're materialistic, and these guys keep the peace and traditional trust, prosperity. Interesting. Okay, let's take a look here. So we are materialists and fanatic pacifists, but for some reason we've gone with efficient bureaucracy and philosopher king. Now the philosopher king trait, ruler level cap +2, is okay. It's not the greatest. I'm personally not a big fan of it. I think our short-term goal is to get our influence production towards a point where we can be happy with some growth, and then from there on completely change our civics through the reformed government. Considering we are fanatic pacifists, we should have the ability to go for agrarian idylliac, which is exactly what we should be striving for. Basically, all our farms will produce +1 unity, which is actually incredibly useful, especially for a society that is this far behind. Let's get rid of this. So we've gotten rid of that. It was in a bad spot. It wasn't particularly practical, so probably better that we got rid of this. We will demolish this as well. We can rebuild a planetary reassembled ship shelter. They are effectively free. And the positioning is a lot better here, and then we can start continuing developing this planet properly. This one is, again, not on a great spot. At least they got an Arcaton Memorial. Do we have an Arcaton Memorial here? No, we do not. A lot of minerals, though. At least that's something that this place has gotten going for itself. So what we'll do is we build an Arcaton Memorial right here. This planet, Akkad, again, it's almost like the AI built this planet. I'm just not a big fan of it at all. Adjacency bonus-wise, this looks like a decent enough spot. Yeah, let's go with this. I think that will be fine. So we're so far behind right now. We have almost no fleet. We are incredibly weak. Our overlords have a significantly larger fleet than us by a good 12,000. They want a trade deal. They want some star charts. I do not think so. And let's also take the opportunity to take a look at our spaceports. So we got solar panels, solar panels, solar panels. No solar panels, so we'll just add those immediately. We'll start building a construction ship because we can use that to expand. For some reason, I did dive into this game a little bit earlier to see what we could do in terms of improving the construction ships, or at least like a general overview before I dive in. I found out the construction ship was stuck to just automatically build over here, which was obviously not the greatest of things. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to go and try to colonize as much stuff as we can early on, or at least get a vassal or two. And it should be... Oh, wait. I've got access to living metal. That is very, very good. Very, very good indeed. Alright, so traditions. Always remember to turn that off. Discovery. It's just a mishmash of everything, really. Discovery is decent, obviously, especially Planetary Survey Corps, as well as Faith and Science, but considering our influence, we need to go expansion. We don't have a lot of choice in that regard, and we need to get our economy back online. I'm just going to build another construction ship, just so that we can start doing a lot more stuff on the ground. Actually, let's move over here. Energy is the big problem right now, so let's focus on building energy so we can at least get a bunch of resources here. So now, as you can see, we are lacking minerals, but we got a lot of energy. So first of all, let's shop around a little bit. Let's see if we can get a trade deal. I am willing to give minerals if you give me energy. They are not interested, so that is pretty much the end of that. Our neighbors, maybe. So if we give some minerals, if they want to do energy, it's not a good deal at all. Basically, what you want to strive for is anything better than a 50% deal. Anything involving if you can get a better deal than 2 for 1, then you're in a pretty good boat comparatively. Mainly because the enclaves require... Yeah, they don't want to give anything either. So we're pretty much forced to talk to the enclaves. And like I said, I will illustrate that point. So we want to trade for minerals, right? But it's 10,000. It's 1,000 for 2,000 energy. So it's a 2 for 1 deal, which is, or a 1 for 2 deal, which is not that great. So it means we can only do this once. It does give us a decent amount of minerals right now, so we can play around with that. But in all honesty, when it comes to some of the planetary surface stuff, it's really not all that optimal. Energy, like I said, is pretty critical. This is a +4 worlds. Space resources are always preferred, by the way, over planetary resources, especially in the early game. Now, I know that this is not exactly the quote-unquote early game, but we do kind of want to rebuild whatever we have in front of us right now, which, as you can see, is not really all that much. This is a +4. No, it's just a plus whatever. So, and there should be a +3 in here, and there is. And then after that, we can start focusing on all the mineral stuff. We're already getting a decent amount of minerals. Obviously, for this stage in the game, it's not all that great, but we kind of want to refurbish what we have and try to kind of
Construction complete.
rebuild what we have, because as you can see, there is not all that much going on, and this is going to take a while. So our first long-term goal is to get independence from our overlord. However, we don't want to do it too early, because if we are really weak, then other empires will demand that we become their vassal, and then they can try to integrate us. Thankfully, this empire is too small to integrate us right now. Sure, they have a decent amount of planets, but they are literally too small to really do anything practical.
Construction complete.
Okay, so let's send you out to... Can I build an outpost anywhere? No, I cannot. And I really shouldn't either. I don't really have the resources for it. This additional outpost is going to be a serious drain on our influence income.
Construction complete.
Let's take a look here at our technology, actually. So yeah, Empire Capital Complex actually is quite good. But considering it's 45 months away and we can do other stuff in the meantime, is far more useful. So we want to start cycling our technology. And by cycling, I mean getting all the cheap stuff, because we can only have so many technologies to choose from. So we want to take all the cheap stuff so we can cycle through the tree a lot quicker. Shields, plasma thrower, this is effectively the cheapest one. Engineering, robot is very important. Now, it's pretty expensive relatively. Actually, it's the cheapest one. But because our faction wants robot and has robot envy, or synth envy, it means that it's going to cause some problems. Also need to take a look at some of this planetary stuff. There is a gene clinic here, which increases growth. Right now, we cannot afford to have more growth. Mainly because of every single pop that we have, it will increase our the requirements for technology, which is not a good thing. We also want to prepare some of these worlds for... so notice how this is food, but it's next to the planetary building. We're just going to put a basic power plant there. It'll be a little bit more efficient. Yeah, because of the bonuses that we can get. We have a very small amount of territory, which means that we can't really do all that much. You were going to replace... You have 2 food there. Again, energy is really, really lacking. We're going to go and try to min-max as much as we can. You is not really enough. A military academy, which we just don't need. Why we don't need a military academy?
Construction complete.
Instead, we're going to put a power plant on there. I think that'll be a much better
completed.
solution. So the one positive thing about this late game scenario is that because some of these systems have not been surveyed properly, it means that there's still a good chance that some of these have anomalies that are useful to us. This science ship needs to go. We don't really have the resources to do anything with that. Excuse me one moment.
Construction complete.
There we go. Sorry about that. No, I do not want to disband those fleets because they are important for our growth. As you can see, if comparatively towards last episode, where we spent quite a lot more time fast-forwarding stuff, I'm kind of trying to change the concept a little bit and focusing a little bit more time on different stages. So what we're going to do now is, though, we are going to fast-forward to a stage that is a little bit more interesting. That we have a little more stuff to talk about, because we have basically gone over our basics as of right now. We want to increase our influence income, our unity income, and try to balance our economy a little bit better for long-term growth. So we're going to wrap it up. That's... Hold on. Materialist, fanatic, pacifist. This is actually something I did not notice. This is going to be really important, because that is a scientist that has psionics. And a scientist, on at least a materialist empire, very rarely gets the psionics expertise. So we threw him in here, just to see if we can get the psionic theory technology. Because if we do that, we have a good chance of going for mind over matter, which for a very small empire like this is going to be really useful due to the amount of boons that we can get. Anyway, we're gonna go and fast forward here. We'll be back in about 5 years' time to see where things are at. So, time to fast forward. Alright, so a few years have passed. We've kind of tried to do the initial salvaging of the Empire by getting as much territory surveyed as we can and basically constructing energy plants and energy stations wherever we can. In addition, we have built the following. So with the recovered economy that we have, so initially we were at -7, now we're at +30, we've built 2 art monuments. So one in New Haven over here, and one in Skylin. So they all cost 1,500 energy credits each, which is a significant investment. However, getting them is incredibly useful due to the sheer amount of unity that it outputs. And specifically, if we are a fanatic pacifist, we get an additional bonus on top of that. In addition, considering we are materialists, it means that we get a +5% research speed improvement. However, that is not the big deal here. It's the robot upkeep that is incredibly useful. So if we go to Akkad, you can see that we've built a robot here. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to replace every single mining tile with a robot. Now what we can do with that is basically go to our species tab, create a template, and then add power drills to our robots. So we can robot mining, as an example, create the template and then replace every single robot that we have on the mine and basically do it that way. And then we can get an additional bonus from that. And considering the upkeep bonus is there as well, we get a better overall result. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to remove this one here, put a mining pop in this position, and I'm going to... I'll actually review the species here. I am going to apply this template to this here. Pop. It will take 17 months to do for one robot. That's totally not worth it. So yeah, that's definitely something we want to keep in the back of our heads. In the meantime, due to the fact that we've put all these tradition buildings or these unity buildings everywhere, it means that we can finally start to grow our traditions. Now, first of all, considering our influence cap is incredibly low, we're running into serious problems, we want to go for galactic ambitions in the expansion tree. Why? Because it decreases the upkeep of frontier outposts influence by 50%, which is a pretty big deal. So let's go for that. The next one is in 58 months, which is not enough time to basically overcome our influence gap, which is a serious issue. I also found a frontier outpost in this system that had a planet in it, so always remove those, please. You don't need an outpost in a system that has a planet in it. We managed to survey a bunch of stuff. I could try to trigger the worm, and we have a survey complete, and that is excellent. So that means we can get additional energy credits. And this project has failed as expected because we didn't want to spend a ridiculous amount of resources on that. This guy we're going to send over here because the improbable ceramics event has popped up. This basically means that we can get a ton of influence out of this, and we need to do that as soon as we can because right now we are lacking behind on influence. We'll we'll kick this one off as well. One thing that I think is really important, even though that we are materialist and pacifist, we've managed to get a psionics researcher. Now, he's very old. He's 138 years old. Considering we do have the venerable trait on our species, means that they'll live for 30 years. But as soon as I saw it, I was like, we're going to go straight for psionic theory, so we can get mind over matter as soon as possible, and that we can get the upgrade for that, because it's incredibly powerful. One thing that I also realized, if we go to our species tab and we set default rights for our species set rights, considering we're materialists, and this is something that can be overlooked incredibly easily, if we go to living standards, we have the option to go for academic privilege. Now, it increases happiness by 10%, which is something we desperately need, but it also increases technology output by 10%. Sure, it increases consumer good costs, but considering our economy is doing fairly well, this is something we can do fairly fine. Sure, it costs 20 minerals a month, but considering the amount of tech that we're going to get into in return of it, as well as the happiness modifier, it is totally worth it. Once we have the galactic ambitions objective, we need to go for a utopian dream, because the Paradise Dome is incredibly useful for a society like this, where pretty much all the factions are annoyed for some bizarre reason. Considering this faction consists of pretty much all of our population, going for traditional prosperity would be a good idea, because it would increase their happiness by 67%, and maybe we would get some influence out of that as well. But these are all goals in the long term. So what we'll go do is we'll get galactic ambition, get prosperity, and then go for utopian dream. And once that is done, we can go... Actually, the happiness should improve once we go for prosperity. So what we can do then is go for faith of science, and then improve our science generation in the various solar systems. Got a lot of resources now, so that's looking very strong. Let's get these mining stations underway. You can do mining stations over there. Where is this one? And you can do mining stations in here. So that's already looking very strong. I'm very happy with the current situation. What else is currently going on? So far, we've basically been looking internally the entire time. What's going on in the galaxy at large? Well, there's 3 major empires here. The Belmakazo, the Alginolax, the Hulfir, and, well, there's also the Alliance of Panaxala tribes. So let's take a look at how much people like us. It's so-so. It's mostly due to border friction and some of our ethics. These guys don't like us at all because they are an autocracy. These guys don't like us because they're spiritualists. We can't really do anything with them. However, these guys, they like us a lot. They have an opinion of 45 of us. And that is a really good thing. If we can get cordial with them, they could potentially... basically support our independence. Ooh, a precursor discovery in the meantime. That is always nice. Oh, good lord. We'll click these guys away. Yeah, precursor discoveries do pop up every once in a while. For some reason, this one did not generate properly. Precursors are always very useful. Okay, they never finished the starter thing. So precursors, we need 6 of them in order to unlock their home system, and then we can get, I think, up to 2 traditions worth of unity from that, sometimes even 3 if you do it early enough. So that is always a thing you want to have fairly early on. If you're wondering why I'm not putting any outposts in this area, there's a good reason for it. It's because this fallen empire would instantly jump us, humiliate us, and try to kill us. So any outpost that we do build needs to be done in here. We can't really remove this one because the gap would be too big and we would lose access to a bunch of systems, and resources right now are very scarce. Let's commission another art piece. Again, 1500 energy. We will build that immediately. And there we go. We'll move a pop over from another position. And let's hope that's going to be enough to get another tradition within...
Science Division reports a new breakthrough.
Within 28 months. It should be okay. Subspace sensors, satramine, government ethics attraction. Potentially quite good. It's cheap. All the strategic resources are generally quite cheap, so going for those is generally a good idea. This is kind of worrying me, though. Let's hope that this improbable ceramics special project is going to give us something decent. You're just hanging around. And don't be afraid to pause the game and look around. You know, there's always a lot of stuff going on, trying to figure out what is the best next step. Now, we are working with warp drive here, so this is not particularly cherry, well, ready for cherry.
Construction complete.
But there's a lot of stuff going on here, and taking a look and just pausing and taking a look what is necessary. Do we need science right now? Yes, but can the economy sustain that? No, not really. So that's not something that we can really actively do anything with. Right now, psionic theory for me is our short-term goal, and that should be extremely good. Once we can get maybe psionic jump drives or something along those lines. Getting all minerals in space. Ooh, hello. That's a thing that we did not have yet.
Construction complete.
Oh, okay. You're doing ceramics right now. So this is a science thing that hasn't been picked up yet. So we could potentially do something with that. Where are you? So right now there's just a bunch of science in space. Let's get this mining station going. There's another potential mining station in this maw. This must be like the scariest place in the universe, having like a barren world surrounding a black hole. So the real question is, should I go habitats here? I don't really think so. Habitats, whilst really good in certain scenarios, I don't think it's going to help us quite a lot in this one. This is scary. Oh, 19 months. Oh, let's hope that we can get some influence from the science here.
Special project complete.
Okay, 150. That's good. So the conundrum is one of the special ones. If you're a spiritualist, there's a better chance of getting a better result out of this. But now we've basically recovered all of our influence, which is excellent. We could potentially build an outpost here. Get these resources as well, a little bit more territory. I don't think we can squeeze out a outpost over here because this fallen empire would, I think, instantly jump us, and I think that's too much of a risk. Even though this nebula is pretty tasty, I'm not going to lie. Let's just put an outpost over here then, just to get a little bit more territory. We're also not really actively colonizing anything. This tundra, ooh, we have a species that we could potentially uplift.
Construction complete.
Interesting. Can we maybe also terraform? No, we do not. We could potentially... What kind of world? How much... Decent amount of resources. Going for a 5-planet approach. Well, we're not really in a position right now to do anything like that. We need to properly develop our worlds first, and then we can potentially look at something like this. But yeah, we're going to go and fast forward here again. Like I said, we've got psionic theory potentially here. There's a League cruiser.
New sit rep.
That's nice. So let's go and get that done. But yeah, there is a bunch of stuff that we can do here. We're going to go and try to see if we can squeeze out anything useful. And then take it from there. So we'll be right back, and then we'll carry on with this insanity. We'll get Galactic Ambitions, of course, in the hiatus, but we'll be back in 5 years to see where we are at. Okay, so a couple years have passed. We've basically did some reestablishing of stuff, and most importantly, we've adapted the Galactic Ambition. Frontier outpost upkeep reduced by 50%, but as you can see, my influence is now gone to 2.12 plus a month. But that doesn't really have to do with this particular trait. That has more to do with the fact with prosperity. And the fact that we went for prosperity was only one reason for it. Well, maybe two, and that's maybe the pursuit of profit, but that's a whole different discussion. Looking at our faction, traditional prosperity is a really big deal for this faction. And considering there are multiple, most of these species are part of this particular faction, trying to make them happy is really important. So as soon as I went from that, the amount of influence that I gained from this particular faction was plus 1.6, which puts us in a really, really strong position. And it also means that we can start moving towards getting that reformation of our stuff. And there's chemical bliss, as well as we have psionic theory now, by the way, which means that we can get a lot more stuff. Plus we get heritage site, which is an incredibly cheap building and incredibly useful. We want to go for that. I've also taken a look at our ships. They are garbage. They were absolutely terrible. Sure, we got this. I think it's avian. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, one thing that's important about ships, whenever you can upgrade your armor, just do it. It's basically free. It doesn't add any power towards your ships. It just adds upgrade costs. Always, always, always add the new FTL types to your ships. If you have a science ship, please upgrade them as soon as you can. Same thing with construction ships. Hell, I'm going to do that right now, because faster construction ships is incredibly worthwhile. In addition, the spaceport, if you want to increase our naval capacity, we just construct a taller spaceport. It's really easy. In addition, this outpost here is starting to annoy me a little bit. It could be done a little bit more efficiently, and I'm actually kind of tempted to colonize this planet. There's a bunch of good resources on here. Sure, it doesn't have any special modifiers, so that is definitely something we can take a look at. In addition, there is this world down here that we can potentially uplift this species. This planet is gigantic. It's the size 23 and incredibly useful. So what we're probably going to be doing is we're going to go and uplift this species once I feel that we are in a good position on a planetary scale. What do we got?
Ships
Defense stations, modification points, always useful. Missile defense module. Yes, we do need point defense. Unless we already have point defense. Hold on, let me take a look here at our destroyer designs. Do we have PD? Yes, we do. So we're just gonna build a quick PD design. Let's autocomplete this. Never do this, by the way. Let's go look.
Construction complete.
PD, and then we will have a PD class, which is always nice. So we're really getting to the point where we're stabilizing. I've built an art monument on every single one of our planets just to improve our Unity income. Remember when we first started and would take 101 months to get a new tradition? It is now down to 30 months. And I'm about to do something that's going to increase our Unity income even more. So what we do is we go to our contacts, we go to the artisan troop, and we ask to become a patron. Now, considering we have a relatively small population, the energy credits required is only 2,000, which, you know, for our empire is quite a lot, but it is totally worth it because our influence, our Unity just went up by 10. And if they ask to refresh it, it will only cost 1,000 energy. And there's also a couple of small events attached to it where you can get more minerals, etc., and a bunch of influence. Going for being a patron is totally worth it, and you should definitely go for it. Especially when you're forced to play tall like this. Actually, I have no idea what difficulty level this is being played on. I would not expect it to be particularly difficult, but it's definitely a challenging environment. Technology, there's the heritage site, and there's the Empire Capital Complex, or Hypercomms Forums. It's 93 months. It's probably less. It's only 33 months because we were already halfway there. So what we're going to do is, in 33 months, it's 66 resource influence. We need 250 to reform our government, but we can still get an empire capital complex out of that, which also increases, which also produces more unity, as well as a bunch of resources, which we definitely want. So at this stage, I feel comfortable going for empire capital complex. 33
Inbound
months
message
is
traffic.
a significant thing. You want the Alar Authority wants a... Interesting. They want an active sensor link with us. They are materialists, so they should probably like us. So we now will know what kind of technology they have.
Breakthrough.
Their fleet seemed to be at 30k, which is significantly higher than we do. Yeah, what do we go for in this case? I would go for mineral processing plant. Mineral processing plant, always a good choice. So let's start to upgrade our Akaton memorials to heritage sites, just for that unity bonus. And you can go to become a planetary administration, and we'll put a basic science lab on this one. There's always there's an interesting argument to be made regarding science in space. Arguably, antimatter reactor. That's way too expensive. Let's go for plasma throwers. There is an argument to be made about minerals and science in space. Minerals in space is generally a better choice than doing minerals on planets, mainly because of the amount of cost that you get, at least at the start of the game. Alien species procurement. I will gather these species. They are probably out in here, but these guys have... okay, let's track all of them. Yeah, I was afraid of that. They are all over the place, and we can't really access this space right now. But maybe later on in the game we'll get something out of that. Where was I? Oh yeah, when it comes to science, it's always better to build science stations on the ground, unless it's like a +5 in space. +5 is definitely worth your while.
Construction complete.
Build those. We're a bit all over the place right now. What did it just? Why did you just reset? I don't want you to reset. Always hit shift and then right click to build. It's a lot more efficient to do it that way. And yeah, like normally in this particular game, I would have given up. I would have said, GG, this game is over. There's no way we can come back from this. However, it's a good learning experience. Trying to figure out how to come back from the brink is always interesting. Now, sure, it's 2309. It's really, really late to be at the technology level of what we are at. But still, it's kind of like playing as a pre-FTL species that comes to the universe a little bit later than everybody else, and that's fine. Ooh, Aurelium ore. Explosive weapon damage. We don't use explosive weapons.
Foreign powers are engaging in active
Teldar
hostilities.
crystals. Kinetic weapon damage. We want to go kinetic weapons. That's the way to go. Now we are currently at war. Interesting. And we're being dragged into this. To the Belmacosa Order. So they're all the way up here. And pretty much everybody is being pulled into this except for the nations that are surrounding me and my overlord, which means that we can't actually do anything in this war. In addition, what have we done so far? Like I said, we've done prosperity. We're about to get another tick on that. And I think whilst we are all over the place in terms of our... yeah, we should probably finish up the discovery tree. It'll be the quickest one to do, and it's also the one that's the most worthwhile, because we need to start to get ascension perks on the board to go towards that which one is it? Planetary Survey Corps, which is not really useful. Leader experience gain, very useful. One thing that I haven't checked, actually. We do have a governor. Okay, that's good. But yeah, we're going to go and fast forward here, and we'll be right back to see what our little empire has done.
Inbound message traffic.
They want to give us minerals for an active sensor link. That's fine. Yeah, so we're going to go learn. We're going to go fast forward here and see what we can get. I think during our next segment, we're going to go and uplift this species, because we have a very small amount of space, but we're going to need to make the best of it. We'll be right back. Okay, so I quickly wanted to jump in before we continue with the fast forwarding. I just got this incoming transmission from the patrons. They are currently offering me a Ministry of Culture. However, I do not have the resources to actually afford this. There is a way around this. Like there is obviously you have the problem of
reports a new breakthrough.
There is the additional civic. There is the problem of randomness. This event pops up randomly over a period of time. However, you don't have to click away this window. You can just wait till you have the amount of resources that you need, and then you can just move on. So you can just basically grab this window, and it never closes. And it means you can always just click it whenever you need. If you said we cannot afford this, then it takes maybe a random amount of time before it pops up again, and you don't really know it. Ministry of Culture is an incredibly good building. The amount of unity that you get out of that is exceptional and totally worth it. So yes, you're going to have the screen on this on your screen for a longer period of time, and it's really annoying, but totally worth it. Totally worth the annoyance until we get the amount of energy credits that we require. We also just unlocked the joy that is the next tier of building here, which is the planetary capital, which is going to okay, that's a planetary capital. We need the empire capital.
Foreign powers are engaging in active hostilities.
Okay, a hopeless war. But yeah, in the meantime, we're going to go and leave this on the screen. This hopeless war is not really impacting all that much because it's between these guys, and
Science
it doesn't
Division
really matter all that
reports
much.
a new breakthrough.
I'm also very cheekily putting a frontier outpost over here. With a bit of luck, it will not trigger this fallen empire. Let's hope it does, or else we're going to be forced to take it down and we'll be humiliated, and that's just going to impact our happiness a little bit. Proton torpedoes, definitely interesting. Oh, this is difficult to read with this interface here. Let's just go for the basic combat roles because it will improve our ships. Not that we really need it because we're not going to go to war anytime soon, not with a fleet of this size, let's put it that way. But yeah, we're going to go fast forward here, and let's hope that this fallen empire does not, in fact, attack us. Okay, so a couple years have passed. It's time to take a general look at our empire. We've played for about 30 so years, and we basically want to take a look at where we are at and what kind of direction we want to go into. So let's take a look at our capital world. We're pretty much fully developed. We pretty much have everything we want, and like I said, we did manage to get that Ministry of Culture. And because we have all these bonuses, we are Patron of the Arts, this is plus 10%, so that's plus 1. We are High King, is incredibly good, so that's a plus almost 30%. We are fanatic pacifists is another 10%, and it basically just adds up. So being pacifistic and going for a unity build, incredibly good. This planet still needs a little bit of other development. I've started to put some assistance in here, so our planetary unity output increases based on the level of the scientist that is assisting. A COD is pretty much all developed. Very happy with that. I managed to put another outpost over here, which basically meant that we now have access to a single unit of Zro, which increases our FTL speed as well as our sensor range +1, and it's going to be really useful once we start dipping into the Shroud. I found it fascinating that the Empire that's the furthest behind has the two rarest resources, living metal and Zro, available to themselves, especially that monthly holiday regeneration. Incredibly good, but we are behind in one particular department, and that is energy. We are running very, very high on basically food and a lot of research going on, but energy is going to be a serious problem. That's where these boys are coming in. We're going to go and uplift this species and bring them underneath our umbrella, and this is going to be the next step in our development. We're going to go and uplift this species. Let's research this uplifting process. And this entire planet is going to be completely dedicated to science and energy. There's a lot of science on planet already, and we can possibly genetically engineer this species to do a little bit more. Some building speed here, that's always nice. Beryllium ore, don't really need much of that. We have, what's this? An inactive building. Okay, so do we have a mine here? Yes, so let's move you over there. And let's get a mining drone in place and instantly upgrade this to a society unit. Now, the happiness, the technology here is already really good because of the bonuses. Do not underestimate the power of research assistance. It can get insane, especially once you have advanced assistance plus the faith and science mechanic. The amount of technology output you can get on a planet gets pretty damn crazy. I think we should be able to get one more unit of the... I quickly need to check. Ooh, we got some peace. That's good. That means that we get some influence again. That's excellent. We get 1.5 influence a month extra now, which is very, very nice. And now we can finally start moving towards that position of trying to reform our government to something that is not pants on head retarded. Yeah, I really like cutthroat politics. A feudal society is very good. Ooh, yes, I will take those 500 minerals. I really like agrarian ideal.
Construction complete.
Especially if you're a fanatic pacifist. It's so, so good. You'll completely start to spiral out of control in the unit department very, very quickly.
Construction complete.
Mining guilds, also very, very good, especially considering we're a very small empire. So using all of that was really nice. I did manage to finagle this single outpost over here. Apparently it was placed in the perfect position, so this fallen empire was not annoyed by me. Expertise Voidcraft. Our psionic scientist is still alive.
Construction
somehow.
Complete.
He is happily badgering away, getting more resources from this thing. And he's also doing the living state. The max influence from factions +1 modifier is very, very, very good and should not be underestimated.
Science Division reports a new breakthrough.
Coil gun, corpse engineer is not really interested. What I am interested in is super solid materials for more engineering facilities. We're a little bit behind in engineering and physics. Society I'm not too worried about. We can crank that up whenever we want to. Okay, so the robots are building really, really hard. And overall, I'm already feeling like we're in a great position. We managed to unlock our first thing. We went for technological ascendancy. I'm going to go for Utopian Dream now. I just want to finish up Harmony, because Bulwark of Harmony plus Utopian Dream is just so good. And then we can move forward to our second one. How many do we need? We just need one empty ascension slot to get mind over matter. That's all we need. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Now we have Utopian Dream. Now our happiness on planet on this one is okay. These other ones, nah, this one's not particularly happy. These ones are not happy at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace one of the farms, which we have +15, so that is perfectly fine. I'm going to put a Paradise Dome in there. This is going to impact our happiness a little bit, but it's fine. Or at least our food production a little bit, but it's fine. As long as happiness increases, I am cool with that. We'll do the same thing with the... Ooh, I just realized something. Is this a good idea due to agrarian ideal? Well, we'll see. Oh, Paradise Dome. I'd rather have happiness right now. This planet's completely empty still, so let's put a Paradise Dome over here. It's mostly minerals, isn't it? A little bunch of energy. It's the break point. We'll put an energy grid in there. And then Alari. This is a +6 mineral, so we'll just replace you with a Paradise Dome. So there you go. So right now, within 22 months, we will be able to get yet again our next tradition. And considering we're forced to play as tall as we are, we can just focus on those traditions and
Science Division
spiral
report success.
completely out of control in those departments. There you go, Plasma Accelerator. We can go for the 3rd tier. It's a little bit expensive. I'd rather go for Energy Nexus so we can get more energy, and then once we start finish up Harmony,
complete.
we can go down the Prosperity route. I actually kind of like Courier Network as well because because it impacts our requirement
Construction
for
complete.
influence costs, or at least unity costs when it comes to our traditions, which is rather useful. A building is not active. Do we have a mine here? Yes, we do. We got 2 of them, actually. So what we're going to do, we're going to put mining drones in place here, and that should fix that problem. Very simple solution. No need to get too ridiculous with that. You have energy, you need to upgrade.
Construction complete.
And there you have it. So our empire right now in a really, really good spot. We're going to go and wait till this uplifting is done, and then we're going to take a look at how that is going to improve our position. Now, I'm currently building up quite a lot of resources to slowly but steadily improve the resources on planet. So what I'm going to do preemptively, I am going to build a new droid, which is the efficient processor, which is the superconductive one. So we're going to add superconductive to that one. We could custom made robot build speed.
Construction complete.
Robot build cost is not the end of the world. And then add efficient processors to that. There you go. So this is the energy droid. Yep. So this is specifically designed for, and we're going to go and do the same thing with this one. Build speed doesn't really matter. I just want to get the upkeep down.
Construction complete.
And then 2.0. And then we can actually apply these to wherever we want them as well. So this one, I think we can remove this template. Oh, there's actually one droid of it in. Yeah, okay, so we got some research here. Basically, we're just setting up for our next stage of development. Okay, so this is done. How is this alien species come along? 3 months, and it will be uplifted. Let's just give you some more resources. And the only reason I want to uplift this species is because it's a large planet that we can use to build a lot of energy plants, as well as science, just to make our empire a little bit more flexible. Sure, it doesn't impact our tall playstyle, yes, but it doesn't really...
uplift program completed.
Okay, so we have a new planet. So the first thing that we need to do is define where are we going to put our ship shelter. Or we can at least... we can't go for a ship shelter immediately. So the first thing is, considering we're playing tall, Unity buildings come first. That's very straightforward. We're actually going to talk to the artisan troop. Let's see if we can commission another piece. Yes, that's maxed out. I think we can only get 5. So where are we going to build this outpost? What is a good position? I would say here. So we're going to build a reassembled ship shelter, a art monument, and a Akaton memorial. So we're going to move you over here. You're going to move over there, and you're going to move over there. And so once all this stuff is done, we'll get a couple of events about the development of our species and what kind of ethics we want to move into. We want to make them pacifists, just like us, so that they at least like us, and take it from there. Yeah. Rocky start, -5 minerals.
Construction complete.
It's not the end of the world. We're going to fast forward again to a point where things are a little bit more interesting. And maybe we can actually start looking at... here is one of the events I was talking about. Spiritualists, materialists. We want to make them materialists. And maybe pacifist as well. But yeah, we're going to fast forward here to a point where we may actually be able to start building up our fleet again, because I feel that we are in a strong enough position now to maybe start looking outward towards our overlords with their 15k fleet power, which is 15 times more than us. Let's see if we can release ourselves in the near future, and maybe also get mind over matter. That would be very useful. Okay, we returned. I was a little bit quicker than anticipated, but we've gotten to the point where pretty much the most important point in the game right now. First of all, we need to go for our mind over matter. Very simple stuff here. We could go with flesh this week, but I don't feel that would be useful considering there's a spiritualist fallen empire up here. So mind over matter is incredibly useful. So there we go. A glimpse, perhaps, of the future that awaits us. Now we can get a bunch of bonuses, which is incredibly useful. And then we can go for... Where are you? The next one is Transcendence. We need to get 3 Ascension perks first, but we're going to be able to wrap up the next one relatively quickly by going Expansion. Diplomacy is just so completely useless in this scenario, so it's not really a thing. Then we need to reform our government. So let's reform our government. Let's get rid of this philosopher king bullshit. We don't need 2 more core systems. 7 is fine. But considering we are so small and we have so many farms, agrarian ideal and cutthroat politics, I think would be a good idea. Just to get more influence. Let's reform our empire. We could potentially go for dictatorial. How old is our ruler? 167. It gets industrialists. 10%. Okay, let's just reform the empire. So there you go. We're now agrarian idealiacs. So that means that all of our farms, if we can find one, now generate additional unity. So all farms generate unity now, which is an incredibly good deal. And you really don't want to underestimate that stuff. We will be going through the tradition trees like crazy based on this stuff. Okay, so we got a little bit of pop development here. What we do want to do here, considering we have more than enough influence, we want to enable infrastructure projects. That's a good deal.
Construction complete.
Maybe propaganda broadcast for the happiness modifier. Let's do that. Yeah, so they'll be a little bit happier. That's always good. So happiness 95%. So now we can start developing this planet properly. Spark of Genius, always nice. I'm just gonna pave all of this over the stuff. I want to get as much energy as I can out of this planet. Unless it's a 2+ or higher, then I don't. Then that's kind of the dealio there. But the more energy we can get, the better. This is the most awkward positioning here. We'll be able to get a lot of science out of this. So the real question is, are we going to go for energy droids? Yeah, screw it, why not? They'll build in parallel to some of the other stuff, so that's always good. And we can actually... interesting idea. Let's see if we can try to... Planetary summary... surface. Let's resettle one of our pops to this place. They won't be particularly happy about it, but it will be useful for planetary growth. Okay, let's increase this. So now we have 3 different species on this planet. One of them is a robot, so it doesn't really count. But both species, at least the base species as well as the new species that we added to our society, will both grow in parallel to each other. So we'll actually be able to populate this planet relatively quickly, and that's exactly what we want to do. I think we have a 3rd species as well, which is these guys. And they are natural physicists and intelligent. Damn, they are really good. Wow. That is actually kind of incredible how good they are. We're gonna move at least one of their pops over towards this world as soon as we can. That'll be important as well. Let's start clearing as many tiles as we can. Just so that we can start pre-developing this world as much as possible. We're still missing a couple of smaller ones in terms of tile developments, but that's not the end of the world, to be honest. Okay, let's upgrade you to the max. All this stuff. So basically this allows us to properly develop things. One thing that I also did, and I actually didn't touch upon, is that I added a observatory to every single one of my space platforms. Why? Because it increases all science output by 10%. And I've done that on every single one of our space stations. I didn't max them out because I don't need the fleet power as of right now. Eventually I obviously will. But there are a bunch of things... space docks are more expensive as time goes on, so that's not something that we want to deal with too much. We're going to go for colonization fever and then courier network, because it reduces the tradition cost of the amount of colonies that we have by 20%, which in this case basically means that we get a free world in terms of tradition costs. So 5 in this case turns into 4 because it's 20%, right? So there you go. Okay, you guys are ready to be resettled. Okay, so just so we can get a little bit more population growth on the ground. Yes, we will move you over here. I doubt that we'll be particularly happy with this, but what's this? Yeah, planet habitability is not really positive for them, but whatever. Okay, so we've basically pre-developed this planet. Is this a good idea? Not really, because these buildings do cost money as they are running. Especially with these, the science lab, they're online. They cost 1 maintenance. So just deactivate them. So now they cost nothing. So, whatever. It's not an issue. And turn them back on if we want to. Let's max this one out. We build another art monument here, which is just wonderful. And we are getting so much unity, it's not even funny. And our next ascension perk is going to be Transcendence, which means that we will have the resources to touch into the Shroud. And that's basically the end goal of this particular scenario, aside from maybe releasing ourselves from this here empire.
Science Division report success.
Cruiser. 34 months.
Construction
But we are in a position where literally nothing can happen to us, because we're wedged in between a bunch of empires that don't really matter all that much to us. So there's that. Okay, good. So development is going well here. Again, I will build a energy grid here because of the energy bonuses on planets. This is 2 minerals. Energy is going to be a bigger problem in the near future, so let's build an energy plant here, and then we'll build a utopia or a paradise dome here. Excellent. So our population is growing nicely. Can I build a robot in here? Energy droids. I don't think it's going to be the most efficient way of doing things, because they are just droids, which means they don't really get all that much of a bonus, but whatever. Let's get a plus on that. And just casually, continuously developing stuff. I think I've got a scientist in orbit everywhere, so... Oh, and we have another planet next door that we could potentially do something with, because the species that we uplifted has a tundra planet variety, which means we can get another size 21 planet if we wish so. In the long term, that would definitely be something that we can look at once we start breaking out of our corner. The only thing that can really cause serious problems now is a fallen empire waking up and a galactic crisis. That will cause some serious issues. Like, technology-wise, we are growing significantly quicker than our neighbors by quite some margin. And that is great for us, because we started so late, we are going through our technology trees very, very quickly. It means that we have a lot of flexibility. And here we go. Some more science. There we go. I swear to God, somebody started this off with just by having the AI run it. But yeah, we're gonna go and pause this. We're gonna forward here, and then we should have King revealed as a psychic. Hello. Monthly influence plus 5 and government ethics attraction plus 10%. Well, we're gonna fast forward here as we should move forward towards our next step. What should we do after this? Well, it's time to grow our fleet. Okay, so something just happened. The Gargaxton have managed to awake, which is obviously a problem. They are now the Gargaxton fanatics, and they will very... Okay, we managed to find ourselves a home world. Let's quickly research this project and then send this bad boy back to assist research. But yeah, they will now awaken, and they will most likely become a serious... Submit to the faith and save your souls, Tigris. It's not too late for you. Funnily enough, we're materialists that are also that have psionic powers, which is fascinating. We won't be able to do anything with them for any time soon, but this is going to impact our influence generation by quite a lot because they will constantly go to war with everybody, and most of our influence is currently tied to a faction that generates pretty much all of our influence. Right now we're plus 3.43, which is kind of good. But overall, and our scientist is dead. Okay, so that was our psionic scientist. He has finally kicked the bucket. So let's put a maniacal scientist in there. Considering our resources, we should probably do the following. Let's go and talk to the curators. Let's see if they can aid us in our research. Considering our size, it only costs 2,000 energy, which is rather good. So let's go with that. Very strong stuff. It's all good. I've decided to build up the fleet a little bit. This is not going to help versus a fallen empire, obviously. The Xeno-Aid Foundation Guilds. Interesting. All refugees welcome. Well,
foreign powers are engaging in active hostilities.
Refugees welcome. That should make him happy. The Academy is happy as well. Secret knowledge. Some kind of ancient
Special
insight.
project complete.
Okay, what's this? Ancient or data cache. Okay, so that's from the... Okay, that's all fine. And we have yet another thing. I've decided to go down the prosperity route rather than diplomacy because that's all alliance, federation related, and it doesn't really impact us all. Whereas prosperity, on the other hand, is incredibly good. I have also gone for galactic force projection, considering we're very small, therefore we don't have a lot of flexibility. And our admiral has kicked one of our... What? Hold on.
Science Division reports a new breakthrough.
I have a lot of admirals that I did not know about.
Construction complete.
Let's just sack him. Alright, physics lab is now here. We can get energy plant, which is very good. 38 months. And that also means we can upgrade all of our physics labs. get more science, which means that we can research faster, which means that we will have
Science Division report
better
success.
advantage in the late game. That is a lot of energy. And we will improve all of this stuff. Normally, you should improve stuff around the Capitol building. It's generally a better way of doing it because it gives stack bonuses, etc. But right now, I didn't really feel like it. 3 months. Let's do it. Yeah, I feel that as soon as we have prosperity done, we will basically be in a good position and ready to stretch out. I think we will. Yeah, I think this is a decent salvage job. Speaking for myself, it's obviously we haven't freed us yet from this here vassal overlord, but they don't have the resources to integrate us. From this moment onwards, it's a case of growing slowly but steadily, improving what we know, abusing the systems in the game where necessary, such as getting psionics and all that stuff, and dipping into the shroud, and basically completely min-maxing our worlds as much as possible, using robots, keeping our factions happy. And initially when we started out, this empire was in absolute shreds. It was gone. We couldn't really... Normally I would have said, GG, I'm gonna restart, and that would be a good place to do it. However, use these sort of situations as learning experiences. Just because you're down doesn't mean you're out. Sure, a single death stack can finish off a war and you lose most of your worlds and you become vassalized. But then there are situations like this where you can use that as a challenge to overcome. Look at your situation. What do you have? Minimal resources? Good. We can use that to get creative. Uplift a species here. Genetically engineer a species there. Try to all of a sudden play incredibly tall like we've done in this particular case. And of course, whenever somebody gets a psionics expertise, while you're a materialist, go straight for that transcendence. I hope that you learned something today. It has been a longer one for Salvage Sunday number 2, and I've changed the format around a little bit, and I hope that you were not too bored during this entire session, because it was quite long. And yeah, definitely an interesting one. What would we do from here on out? Well, we would increase our fleet capacity, improve our technology, maybe get this planet under control so we could remove this here outpost. Obviously, Transcendence, dip into the Shroud, get those bonuses, get the boons. Maybe even give the middle finger to the galaxy by signing a pact. Who knows? This is all quite interesting. I'm going to leave the save game in the comments below if you want to play a little bit more with the Star Dynasty of Alar. But in the meantime, we're going to wrap it up here for Salvage Sunday. We'll be back again next Sunday with yet another empire. If you have any suggestions, leave your empires as a WeTransfer link below, and I will have a look at them and see whether or not anything is practical. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, take good care of yourselves, and as always, each other.